Judge Craig DeThomasis, the one with all the biases, is finally being removed from the court case in Levy County, Florida. Just days ago, LIEnette and CROOK were witnessed in a huge another verbal altercation on their property as a FedEx truck entered, handed them information, they received the information, and then the fight ensued. And what was that information? The information was they were held in contempt of court in Ohio, and they have another hearing coming when they went to the town hall meeting for an hour and a half when George was there. So we're going to get to that, but this is all today about Judge Craig DeThomasis. Remember, LIEnette ran to, her words, not my words, ran to the Levy County Courthouse where Judge Craig DeThomasis denied her request for an injunction against me in retaliation because I publicly announced that I was getting a civil protection order against her and CROOK. No more than 3 times, I believe it might have been 4 times, Judge Craig DeThomasis actually denied it based on no evidence. And there was still never any evidence. And this is the judge who got documents such as this from LIEnette that state how much CROOK does to her and how he's an endangerment to her and her child. When it's all about an injunction against me, all she does is say all this trash about John. Why does she keep John around? Because she wouldn't have anybody to blame if John wasn't around. This is the same judge that knows that she has a history, an entire rap sheet, including a felony for theft. Now, that was negotiated down to a misdemeanor. All the same, the reality is she pathologically, habitually lied on all of her documentation. We've got CROOK with domestic violence. We've got these individuals claiming they're scared of me, and yet they continue to point these items at me and those I care about, and others on the road to Otter Creek. LIEnette, who literally calls the Levy County Sheriff Department because her dogs, which are her responsibility, are on my property with guests on my property. And this is the same woman who claims she wants her daughter to be able to play in the road with chalk. But now she's calling the sheriff because her dogs are in the road on my property illegally. LIEnette is the same person that asks people to write character letters for her. Individuals who don't even know her personally. And here's what I can share all about that. Judge Craig DeThomasis, he approached this illegally and wrongfully. And not only that, he tried to defend himself over and over again as motions were continually filed to have him removed from this case. What he did, acting illegally as legal counsel for LIEnette in court, that was wrong. The way he treated me with bias and my legal team, completely and totally wrong. All of this could have been settled if it never even went before the court, because there is no evidence. Number one, you can't take away my freedom of speech, which is constitutionally protected. Which is funny that LIEnette wants to claim now she needs a lawyer because it's constitutional. Remember, before it was fear. And LIEnette, she tries to mimic and mirror everything I say and everything I do. And now she's claiming it's a constitutional thing. She's begging people for money. Literally, as these pages, which I'm about to share with you, LIEnette posted the very morning this information was released that she needed money. It's constitutional. No, what LIEnette has done is illegal. What I'm doing is fighting for constitutional rights. Judge Craig DeThomasis cannot infringe upon my First Amendment right, which he has done very grossly. He's also infringed upon my Second Amendment right. He's also infringed upon my Fifth Amendment right. He's also infringed upon other of my legal rights. And do you think there's going to be a lawsuit with the state of Florida? I can assure you there is. And do you think there's an issue with Levy County Sheriff Department? Will there be a lawsuit there? I can assure you there is. As a matter of fact, we just filed records requests. Every time my name, What the Hales, Jeremy Hales, was ever mentioned with anybody in the state of Florida, I have, you're not even going to believe it, over 5,000 documents right now that I have to go through, which we will be going through, which again, right now I'm going through in preparation for the lawsuits against Levy County Sheriff and against the state of Florida. But the issue right now is Judge Craig DeThomasis, the mess he created for himself. And it could have all been resolved if he just went, there's no evidence. There never was any evidence. Even in the first hearing, he said, no temporary injunction, there's no evidence. Lack of evidence was his term. It wasn't until LIEnette lied, stating that Mark Feather, the world's most famous lawyer, who now has his own channel, she lied and stated he tried to bribe her, which is interesting because Judge Craig DeThomasis encouraged Mark Feather to try and negotiate a settlement or something outside of the court. And then when LIEnette comes with a document saying he tried to bribe me with no proof whatsoever, none, then he puts a temporary injunction on me. Nothing based on what I've done, based on what she claims and lies somebody else did. And then he refuses to remove himself. And he refuses again and again and again until we file a writ of prohibition. Well, you also know that Silver Scam shows up as well, having no clue at all who LIEnette is or what he's gotten himself involved with. And that's the funny part about these individuals writing character reference letters. They have no idea who LIEnette is or what they've gotten themselves involved in, because they are going to be involved in the federal court case. And they will not have the option to say no. Marli Huge will not have the option to say, I'm housebound, I can't get there. She will be legally mandated to be there. But that's not the only legal mandate, because Craig DeThomasis got served. Yeah, even judges get served. As you can see here, it says right there, served Honorable Craig Constantine DeThomasis. He was served. He was served by the higher courts, the appellate courts. So was Mark Feather. So was Doreen Ingalls and Christy Lopez, Randall Shockett, and Joshua Silverman. Now, if we look down here, we obviously know Craig Constantine DeThomasis. That is the unhonorable Judge Craig DeThomasis, who I will do everything in my social influence power, if there is any at all, to make sure he never, ever gets reelected to that bench. And then we also see Mark Feather, who was the first who represented me, who is now a witness in these cases based on LIEnette's lies. And then we see Doreen Ingalls, who is part of my team now with Randy Shockett. But you may be wondering, who's Christine Lopez? Well, Christine Lopez and Silver Scam are partners as well. Christine Lopez will not go in front of DeThomasis. When somebody comes to her, she will clearly say, I want you to go with Silverman, because Silverman is good friends and good buddies with DeThomasis. You think I have proof of that? The answer is yes. As a matter of fact, I have so many witnesses that I can call to actually testify towards that, because they're all coming out of the woodwork telling me what Silver Scam has done, what DeThomasis has done, what Lopez has done, and they're all ready to share their story. And I'm just saying, hold. Remember Braveheart? Hold! Hold! It's about to be unleashed. And this was unleashed just yesterday on Craig DeThomasis. Now, I want you to understand that when we were in court, first of all, Silver Scam did not oppose the writ of prohibition. And a writ of prohibition is basically saying we are requesting that you be prohibited from hearing this trial, being involved with this trial, or having anything to do with this trial. And Silver Scam said, yeah, we don't oppose to that, because it buys them time with a temporary injunction on me. Temporary meaning there's an ending. And yet there is no end date on this ridiculous injunction. And so Judge DeThomasis has this to say about the writ of prohibition.
Potential likelihood. Obviously, I don't think it's going to come to fruition. But I want to avoid the potential likelihood for the litigants and for counsel, if it does come to pass, which is a successor judge having to redo anything.
How wrong DeThomasis was and is. And frankly, he's got to be feeling the heat right now. He's got to be feeling the heat from all directions. It's obvious that Levy County Courthouse and all the employees, they're watching. They know what's happening. They know what's going on. They're seeing LIEnette, who she really is, all the evidence that's being presented, when I've had no opportunity yet to share any evidence in court. And so it goes to the appellate courts, the First District of Appeals, where DeThomasis says there's no way they're going to remove me from this case. Well, I've got information, and it's hot off the press. It's a day old now. Judge Craig DeThomasis, well, let's just look right down here. District Court of Appeals, First District, and we see Tallahassee, Florida. Case idea, Jeremy Hales versus LIEnette Preston. I'm the petitioner, she's the respondent, by the order of the court. And what is the court ordering? First of all, I think we need to get a little bit of background here. When you file for a writ of prohibition to have a judge removed because he is unqualified himself, this judge has done so many immoral and unethical and illegal things already in these 5 hearings. It's mind-blowing. It's literally mind-blowing. And it's concerning because judges have qualified immunity, which means they can't be held accountable for the things they do, which there are plenty of people out there are going to tell you. Qualified immunity needs to be stripped from these individuals. They hide behind it. They act out this way because of it. And so I would agree, qualified immunity, we should have laws that pertain to everyone. Right is right, wrong is wrong, for everyone. If Judge DeThomasis does it and it's wrong, he should be penalized with the consequence. If Jeremy Hales does it and it's wrong, I should be penalized with the consequences. And if I've done anything wrong, I'm willing to admit to it and live out those consequences. Throughout this entire time, I've been in fear that I was going to be jailed for what not I've done, but for what LIEnette is lying about, stating others have done, and what Craig DeThomasis would claim I'm responsible for with others' actions. When LIEnette is literally posting, get to know me, ask me questions, contact me, has her number everywhere, her address everywhere, and responds to everyone. And the judge wants to hold me accountable for that? That's not okay. So what does this say? It says by the order of the court. And I'm sure you understand this is the appellate court. This is the higher court. So you have county court where Judge DeThomasis is. And then you have Tallahassee, the higher courts, okay? They have jurisdiction over DeThomasis. And in this type of situation, what would typically happen is the higher court, the appellate court, would order the judge to show cause, in other words, to show proof of why he should not be removed from this case. That's standard. That's normal. But there's been nothing normal about this case. As a matter of fact, the appellate courts have shut him down and shut him up and are not giving him an opportunity to say anything. This is incredible. So let's read it. By the order of the court, the respondent, remember, LIEnette is the respondent. The respondent shall show cause. Now, that's the evidence. So, in other words, let's put this down on the bottom shelf. LIEnette has to give evidence why the court should not issue the writ of prohibition requested by the petitioner, Jeremy Hales, which is now docketed on March 1st, 2024. So this is what the higher courts are saying. I hope you understand this. The higher courts are saying, we are going to remove Judge Craig DeThomasis. Not only are we going to remove Judge Craig DeThomasis, we are not going to give him an opportunity to even speak about the issue because he has illegally spoke about the issue in all other motions where Jeremy has filed to have him removed. Now he is silenced. Okay. Yeah, they love it too. I love it. The peacocks love it. Judge Craig DeThomasis is now being silenced by the higher courts, which is interesting because this is the judge who took away my First Amendment rights and the rest of the planet's First Amendment rights and said if anybody said anything or posted anything about LIEnette, that I would be held responsible and would go to jail. And now the first appellate courts are saying, you ain't saying nothing. LIEnette is now responsible for showing evidence why they should not remove. In other words, you have to understand, this writ of prohibition is a huge document. I don't remember the exact number of pages. It's close to, if not 100 pages. And not only did the appellate courts receive that document, the appellate courts also received every single videoed trial hearing with DeThomasis. Not only did they have transcripts, the official legal transcripts, they have the video evidence that goes with it, and they have the writ of prohibition. Now, that's a huge task. Huge. As a matter of fact, if I'm estimating right now, what I've paid out of pocket to get this information to the appellate courts is roughly $20,000 to $25,000 if I'm doing my math correctly and how I've been billed for those hours preparing all of this. Remember that when you pay a lawyer, some lawyers will do a project for a flat fee. Some lawyers will take on a project, you don't pay them anything, but at the end, if you get a settlement, they take a huge percentage of it. Other lawyers, this is customary, they're actually going to charge you per hour. And so I'm being charged per hour. Thus far, $155,000 in just legal fees. That's not traveling back and forth to Ohio, to Florida, all the fees that come with that, all the headaches, all the money I've lost when I could have spent that time on business, all the things I've had to have my employees doing, researching, digging up information, evidence, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of screenshots. Everything from John Crook rolling over on a dog and unaliving it to everything else you can think of. Literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of screenshots with all of her cult-like followers. I'm spitting all over you, Christian, aren't I? I'm seeing it come out of my mouth. This is how excited I get. This is a huge celebration and day. Just a little more to wet the mouth to spit on Christian. I'm getting too excited. I'm salivating. And so the money was well spent if Craig DeThomasis, number one, is exposed to the world for who he really is and what he's really done. All the way from defending his good buddy who is using his camera in a tanning salon to film somebody in the nude. And then Craig DeThomasis telling me as a YouTuber, the largest news media platform in the planet, telling me I can't use my camera to film LIEnette and what she's done to keep her accountable. Do you understand the complete and total hypocrisy of this? The man literally defended his lawyer buddy who is exercising voyeurism, and who knows how many other times this man actually did that with his phone in a tanning salon or other places, and where all those videos ended up on the internet. But then Judge DeThomasis comes to his rescue and says, hey, I'm here for you, Easel. I'm here for you. Hey, court, no, this is a good man. He's going to be a better man because of this. He's going to be a better lawyer because of this. And yet, this same Judge DeThomasis, it has me in court, who I work with a camera, holding people accountable for doing the wrong things. And he says to me, nope, you can't film. That takes away my First Amendment right. Freedom of speech, public press. That's insanity to even think about this man trying to help another person who's doing illegal things in tanning salons, but then trying to keep me from sharing the truth of what these horrific individuals who stalked me, who have harassed me, defamed me, have slandered me, and the list goes on, tried to destroy my life with their lies. I mean, do you see the complete and total hypocrisy of this? And so what the appellate court is now saying is the respondent, being LIEnette, shall serve the response within 20 days from the date of this order. Now, what's the date of the order? May 15th. As I'm filming this right now, it's May 16th. When I release this, it will be May 17th, 2024. And so, LIEnette has 20 days to give what's legally called a cause for, it's the cause for response, and what we are going to just say evidence of why he should not be removed. 20 days. So 2 days on per the release of this video have already passed. Now here's the issue for LIEnette. Number one, usually in most circumstances, a judge is the one that has to give the higher court the reason why they should not be removed. And this court is saying, you're done. You're not going to say another word. They're putting burden on LIEnette. Now, what does that mean for LIEnette? I shared with you that roughly, even to create the writ of prohibition, cost me out of pocket $20,000 to $25,000. And I share that with you on purpose. Because you understand that for LIEnette to even try and show cause that Judge DeThomasis should not be removed means a number of different things. Number one, she's going to have to pay silver scam. This woman doesn't have a clue what she's doing. As a matter of fact, she continues to incriminate herself in every single document. Literally every document she has her hands on. She literally ran to the courts, signed her name, Jeremy Hales, Ohio, Levy County, and now we have all the information for the forensic handwriting expert that will be in federal court. This woman has only damaged herself further and further and further. So number one, LIEnette can't do this on her own, okay? Number two, Silverman has no clue what he stepped into, none whatsoever, and she's going to have to pay him. Now, could he say, I'm going to do it pro bono and free? Sure, he could. He could go, I hate Jeremy. I'm just going to do it. He's going to be destroyed in court anyway. Even if he were to do this all for free, do you understand how much it's going to cost? My lawyers have been with me the entire time. They've witnessed it. They understand what it is, and they're putting the documents all together. He's going to have to research it. He's going to have to watch every single video. He's going to have to go through every legal transcript. He has to go through this entire writ of prohibition. Almost, if not more, 100 pages. Now, for him to try and go through all of that step by step, go through all the videos, go through all the transcripts, go through all the writ of prohibition, and then try and say, well, this is the point I'm going to try and defend. I got to defend this way. He has to come up with a defense for all of that and evidence. Do you understand? If I paid $20,000 to $25,000 for that, LIEnette is going to have to pay $20,000 to $25,000 in 20 days to even respond to it legally with Silverman, which puts us to the point of it won't happen. There's no financial way I believe she could ever do it. There's no theoretical way that I think Silver Scam can even get into it because he doesn't understand what he stepped in the middle of. He would need more than 20 days just to get a heartbeat of everything that has already happened. And nor do I think she's going to have the finances to do it. While Patty sent her $7,000. Paul sent her $3,000. There's $10,000 right there. And there are others. Even Marli Huge, when she got her government check on the 3rd this month, sent her $50 that none of them will ever see again. Marli finally put her money where her big mouth is. Nobody's ever going to see that money again. And nor is LIEnette going to be able to come up with $20,000, $25,000 to even show cause in a response to this. So what's the smartest thing for LIEnette to do? Well, I can share it with you, understanding that she's watching as well. Nothing. Why in the world would she pay her lawyer money that she doesn't have, first of all? Which, by the way, all those that are giving her money, I mean, in all reality, I have to say thanks. Because that's money that isn't coming from other things that I'll be awarded later in the federal courts. So when somebody goes, hey, here's $10,000 between Patty and Paul, here's $10,000 for your lawyer. That's $10,000 she didn't have to sell the Jeep for, which means when the government comes in and seizes everything, then it all comes to me with the settlement. So, hey, that's great. Fantastic. There's no money for them to even move forward with the response, in my opinion. Okay, it is just my opinion. If there's something going on that I don't know about, hey, that's great. We'll fight it out in court, the legal way, the right way. But I can't foresee them. I can't even foresee Silver Scam. Remember, LIEnette is the one that said Silver Scam told her to be at the town hall meeting on camera to the officers, and all of this will be in the courts as well. LIEnette throwing her own lawyer under the bus. Any lawyer worth anything is never going to tell their client to be there when there's a civil protection order against them 500 feet. So first of all, I think she's a pathological liar about her own lawyer. And if her lawyer did say that and it comes out as truth in court, man, there are so many other people right now that are waiting to share with the planet silver scam. Lopez, DeThomasis, they want their stories heard. And we are going to tell them here on What the Hales. And so how is she going to go about showing proof and evidence? The smartest thing for them to do is nothing. When they do nothing, number one, it's free. When they do nothing, what are they going to do? How are you going to show cause? What evidence could they even come up with? Oh, this judge should not be removed. It's evident to the planet that this judge is wrong. At worst, illegal, at best immoral, but definitely abusing the bench. And so where in the world are you even going to come up with evidence in 20 days time, 18 per the release of this? So this is why LIEnette is begging for money, because it's no longer DeThomasis. Now, don't get me wrong, DeThomasis would love to be the one to defend himself, as he's done already so many ridiculous times, which him defending himself is the thing that's getting him removed, because he's not legally supposed to with the motions to recuse or remove himself. So it goes on to say 20 days following the service of the response. The court grants in part the motion docketed March 6, 2024. The court accepts the following portion of the supplemental appendix. We can look right down here, Christian. Docketed March 25th, 2024. The transcript of the January 23rd, 2024, and the remainder of the supplemental appendix is stricken. So you may be thinking, what does it mean that there's supplementals stricken? So to my understanding, when the original writ of prohibition was filed, then there was amended portions and additional portions, supplemental, as you saw the word there, portions to that. And some of those were redundant. So when you file supplemental, then the redundancy gets stricken because it's already there. The information's already there. So the court is basically, the higher court, the appellate court, is basically saying, okay, I'm going to put this in non-legal terms. The writ of prohibition is absolutely going to be granted unless LIEnette gives some type of legal proof why it should not. They're saying we are accepting everything in this writ of prohibition. There is some redundancies, as we saw here, which is restricted. It also says the court accepts the amended petition docketed March 25th, 2024, but the specific references therein and the portions of the supplemental appendix are being stricken, are likewise stricken, and will not be considered. And frankly, that's pretty impressive. I just read that entire paragraph upside down. I've got to say, I don't even know how to read. If that's not dyslexic, what's upside down reading? I don't know what it is, but I just did that. The court is accepting all the information as truth because it's all on video. It's all legally transcribed. It's all shows exactly what DeThomasis did wrong. They're accepting it all. And then it goes down to say this: the court does deny as mute the motions in the issue of show cause order docketed March 1st and 4th, 2024. I hereby certified that the foregoing is a copy of the original. I got cut off there, but there's really, what the court is literally saying is, Jeremy Hales, you're the petitioner. You will be receiving your writ of prohibition unless, so in other words, right now, 99.9% Craig DeThomasis, the dishonorable Craig DeThomasis, will be removed from this case and the bench. Not the bench permanently, but the bench from this case. 99.9999% he is being removed unless in 20 days LIEnette gives some type of legal proof and evidence why he should not. There's no way, number one, LIEnette can pay for it, and there's no information or evidence or legal basis to not remove him. All the legal information is there to remove him. In other words, it's a pretty big win for Jeremy and What the Hales.